Hello, everybody. This is part 14 of Legends of the Physics World. Thank you so much for liking this series. Uh, Today, we are going to talk about someone who she's the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. She's the first person and the only woman to win the Nobel Prize twice. She's the only person to win the Nobel Prize in two scientific fields, physics and chemistry, and she's the first woman to become a professor at the University of Paris. Yes, I'm talking about Marie Curie. Let's talk about her early years. In 1891, a young Polish emigrant named Mary Sklodowska registered for the science course at the Sorbonne in Paris. In 1894, Mary met Pierre Curie, French scientist, and Pierre Curie had a similar interest, similar devotion for scientific research. That is what brought him close to her. Pierre proposed her for marriage, and she took 10 months to accept his proposal because she wanted to she wanted to go back to her own country, Poland, but she faced some problems, and then she accepted his proposal. She had a great housekeeping wisdom. She invented dishes which needed little preparation or could be left to cook themselves so that she can give more time to science. And before going out, she would regulate flame with physicist precision. How did she balance home and work? When Irene, a future Nobel Prize winner, her daughter was born, the thought of leaving research work never came in her mind because of the strong support from her husband. And Pierre, in fact, he abandoned his own research in order to aid with hers. Two brains and four hands sought the unknown element. In 1998, they announced the discovery of new element, and she named that element polonium after Poland. So that shows her love for her country, her patriotism. In December of the same year, they announced the existence of second new chemical element which they called radium. So miraculous outcome of their effort. So they knew how to purify radium, and it can be used very effectively against the war against cancer. And they knew that radium, it is magnificently useful, and a radium industry was about to be born. So they had two choices. First choice was describe results of their research without reserving anything, and second was consider themselves proprietors, inventors of radium, patent the technique and manufacture throughout the world, and commercial get the profit. So Pierre spoke to Mary about this, and he said, we have two choices. What should we do? And her words. She said physicists always publish their researches completely. If our discovery has a commercial future, that is an accident by which we must not profit. And if radium is going to be of use in treating disease, it is impossible to take advantage of that. In 1903, she was awarded Nobel Prize with Pierre Curie, her husband, and Henry Becquerel. At first, the committee had intended to honor only Pierre Curie and Henry Becquerel just because she's a woman. But a committee member and advocate for women scientist, Swedish mathematician Magnus Goesta Mittag Leffler, alerted Pierre to the situation, and after his complaint, Mary's name was added to the nomination. In 1906, Pierre lost his life in a flash. He was crossing a road, and then there was a horse driven vehicle, and he met with an accident, and there was a severe injury in his skull. That is how he lost his life. And after this loss, government offered pension to Mary, but she refused the pension, saying I'm young enough to earn my living and that of my children. She was offered a post, Pier's post, by the Council of Faculty of Science, and it was a first day of her lecture, and the amphitheater was completely packed. And when she entered in her class, all of them gave her standing ovation, and they were clapping. She waited for the ovation to stop, and after that she started her lecture with these lines: when one considers the progress that has been made in physics in past 10 years, one is surprised at the advance that has taken place in our ideas concerning electricity and matter. She resumed the course at the precise sentence where Pierre Curie had left it, and tears rolled down her cheeks, and she really missed Pierre at that moment. And her contribution during World War I is like, you cannot describe it in words. She knew that wounded soldiers need to be operated soon. After quick study of radiology, anatomy, and automotive mechanics, she procured X-ray equipment, vehicles, auxiliary generators, and developed mobile radiography units. Assisted at first by a military doctor and her own 17-year daughter Irene, Curie directed the installation of 20 mobile radiological vehicles and another 200 radiological units at field hospitals. In 1915, Curie produced hollow needles containing radon and to be used for sterilizing infected tissues. It is estimated that over 1 million wounded soldiers were treated with her X-ray units. You can imagine, million wounded soldiers. She helped these many people, and during this time she was not able to do any kind of research because she devoted completely to the wounded soldiers. In spite of all her humanitarian contributions, Curie never received any formal recognition of it from the French government, but that's okay. Death. She died from aplastic anemia. This aplastic anemia, it happens because of long exposure of radiations. At that time, there were not there. She didn't knew about the safety measures, and that happened. She carried test tubes containing radioactive isotopes in her pocket, and she stored them in her desk drawer. So she was continuously exposed to harmful radiations. And Curie was also exposed to X rays while serving as a radiologist in field hospitals during the war. Her papers and cookbook are highly radioactive, and her papers are kept in lead lined boxes. In her last year, she worked on a book, Radioactivity, which was published posthumously in 1935. She was she is known for her honesty and moderate lifestyle. She received a small scholarship in 1893, and she returned that scholarship in 1897 as soon as she began earning her keep. So she gave much of her first Nobel Prize money to friends, family, students, and research associates. In an unusual decision, Curie intentionally refrained from patenting the radium isolation process so that the scientific community could do research unhindered. She and her husband often refused awards and medals. Albert Einstein said or remarked about her, she was probably the only person who could not be corrupted by fame. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you have liked my video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.